Alrighty, welcome back everyone to another episode of Black.Queer.Alive. I am here with the Ms.Vagina Jenkins, who I am so excited to interview. You were actually the first person I thought of when thinking about doing a second set for the series. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm really excited to have you. Just for a little bit of background, I did an amazing gig in San Francisco for San Francisco Pride last last year, around last July, I think, or June.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we were at the El Rio, and I just remember, all I remember is being in the green room, and I heard them call your name on still. I saw you backstage. I was like, oh, she's so pretty. Like, they're so pretty. I don't know your appropriate pronouns, so please correct me if I messed up. But my initial thoughts were, she's so pretty. And then you came on stage and you had this burlesque number with these feathers and the glitz and the glam, and I just I remember thinking, like, I want to be this woman. Like, I just it was like as a moment of mesmerization. So that was my introduction with you, and I'm glad I met you in that light.
It's, I like the story of that. Uh, I like the story of that. I want to be her moment if it's the feeling of feeling inspired and not the feeling of feeling less or anything like that. So that's why it's complicated for me how people are introduced to me because we are multitudes. I will say that. Yeah.
A moment of like
Um,
sublime
oh,
beauty.
so, oh no, please go ahead,
It
continue.
was just a moment of sublime beauty for me. It's like, I don't want to, okay, so I don't know if this is a proper correlation, but it's like it's like it's like your jaw dropping when you see Jessica Rabbit go on stage, and you're like, I love her, I want to be her, she's so, it was just like that level of grandeur and beauty. I remember just experiencing it and being like, wow, this is amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank
um
you.
Please tell us about
Um,
yourself, your name, age, what you're passionate about, and your pronouns.
yes, absolutely. So yes, my name is the Lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins. My pronouns are they and we. Um, I feel like I'll say two things. I feel like I am known as a burlesque performer or maybe performance artist.
Mhm.
But I feel like who I am is oftentimes in reaction to what the context is. And I never really think of myself as any one thing, but I'll say what I'm passionate about. And I love the way that you worded that question because I feel like a lot of folks will ask, like, what do you do for work? Like, But yeah, what I am passionate about is creating beauty in the world. I am passionate about dreaming. I'm passionate about taking the space, time, rest, energy to dream of a better world and create it. Yeah.
If you feel comfortable enough, how do you sexually identify?
Oh, yes. So, in terms of gender, femme for sure. And in terms of sexuality, I'm asexual, or at least on the asexual spectrum, and very romantic, pan romantic, hyper romantic. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, but queer as fuck.
A queer, a queer as fuck. I like that. For if you once again, it's just all in the level of comfortability. Um, what? I know like the definition of asexuality is, but how is that expressed for you? Like what does that look like for you in your life?
Sure. What it looks like for me in my life is complicated for sure, right? Like a large part of my history as a working person in America has been doing sex work. So there's that to be said. And in terms of what my asexuality means, is to me, it's just another point of queerness.
Mhm.
Like if we think about, oh, human desire is kind of the de facto state. And so then like allosexuality is like this one half of the binary. Then you have this other half of the binary that, which is, oh, sexuality? Maybe not, please. So yeah, I think it's just another point of queerness for sure.
Okay, thank you. Where do you find home?
Ooh. Hmm. Something about the word home makes me think of resonance.
Okay.
And so like maybe home are all the things that like really make your spirit just sing. Yeah.
When
I
you
want to find, speaking of which, can I interject for a moment?
please, please, yeah.
Um, we just got to talking, and we didn't really talk about like what the container might look like. And I would like to find home a little bit with you. So I wonder if our questions could be maybe a little slower, and
Okay.
maybe you could share just a teeny bit about yourself as well. So it felt like a,
Yeah, most definitely.
because
So
I yeah, like in terms of home, like I know that you are very much like a representative of California,
yeah.
and that's how a point that I wanted to like resonate with you about, because I wanted to know like what in your body feels beautiful about California, so that I can like also like see that. I
Yeah,
don't know. Anyway, sorry.
yeah,
I'm
most definitely. So I consider myself a daughter of California. Um,
yes.
uh, the story of California for me is the story of Khalifa, who's the Black and Indigenous warrior. There are stories about her, how Black and Indigenous people existed here, and I feel very connected to that energy, not just through her, but in all women throughout the world and all like mythologies and folklore. But for me, like I'm a daughter of that lineage. So that's what home is for me when I say I'm a daughter of California. Um, I
Mm,
I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and particularly in a neighborhood called Chavez Ravine. And Chavez Ravine is a neighborhood that was in Northeast Los Angeles. And what happened was in the 40s, when the Dodgers decided to move from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, they bulldozed half of that community and set up home there. So my
mm,
family has been in Chavez Ravine since the end of the 40s. And that's what, like, when I think of home, I think of like La Lomas, Chavez Ravine, like that lineage of of um, of Latinx people, because I am Afro Latinx. That lineage of LA history from the Zoot Suit riots to now. Um, but I also, because I have moved to the Bay, to Oakland in the past 3 years, I don't feel like um, I feel like the being in the Bay is an extension of the California that I know, and I've been everywhere. I've been up and down the West Coast, from Mexico to Oregon and to Seattle. So for me, that I hate to say territory, but that land is an extension of how I
yeah.
see myself. So that's home. This is home for me.
I feel mm, I feel like the parts of your story that resonate with me are, uh, well, one part about journeys and displacement.
Mm,
I am from, I would say I am from Atlanta because it's the place where I became an adult, right?
mm,
And very much my story of Atlanta was like slowly not being able to afford Atlanta
mm,
and thinking to move out to the Bay Area and not being able to afford the Bay Area. So, this place. And so that's why when you talk about California, and I remember reading somewhere that you were like, oh, I am a daughter of California. I wanted to, yeah, that connection because I'm just so curious about what people are experiencing outside of displacement. I feel like for me, California has definitely been the story of displacement, and it is hard.
mhm.
For sure, for sure. But there is so much beauty. There is so much beauty.
Yeah,
But yeah, the West Coast is not a place that I would say is like home in my body yet. But I've been here about 10 years though. So yeah.
yeah, it's so weird. Um, like, it's weird because my people came from Albuquerque to Los Angeles about 100 years ago. So that's part of like that displacement, I guess you say, and experiencing Chavez Ravine being like literally bulldozed by this big corporate entity. But because
Yeah.
we've been there for so long, there's this idea of displacement for me. If I do, I feel privileged enough to say there's a place for me to always go back to. Like Chavez Ravine is always that, and displacement for me is like where I decide my body right shall go. But then a part of me also
Mhm.
feels that like wherever I'm at, and it sounds stereotypical, but wherever I'm at, there's home. So like when I was in Paris, this year, I was like, that's home. I'm here. It's
Yeah.
something familiar about it. So I just think like wherever my mind takes me, wherever my mind takes my body, um
As
that's
long as you're like
placement.
grounded,
Yeah, yeah.
as long
That's
as you're like grounded in your body, I feel like that sense of like, I don't know, like selfhood, agency of who you are, no matter where you go, whoever you're with, I
yeah.
feel like that is also part of the definition of like home for me.
Yeah. And my mom always used to have this saying growing up, wherever you go, there you are. So that is intrinsic to how I see myself as well and how I move
For
through the world.
sure. Mm, yeah. Home stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is it okay if we jump to the next question?
Sure.
What are you searching for?
Ooh. Mm. I mean, freedom.
Mm.
I just feel like that's like, does everyone say that? I feel like everyone
I
should
had one
says some version of that.
I've had one other person say freedom.
Hmm.
So
I
I
mean, just that sense of like agency over your own life and your time, your thoughts,
oh,
um, because of the coronavirus COVID stuff. Everybody's having their own experience, and don't get me wrong, it's quite difficult to navigate. There's a lot of anxiety, and also I am grateful as fuck for the space and the time. I feel a little bit like, I don't know, it just feels like a little bit like suspended in time, even though I do see like the days and feel that sense of like anxiety. I'm sure that we all have, like, oh, it's been 6 months. Um, but God, this is as close to freedom I feel like as I've ever felt in my life. I
wow.
really do.
Wow. What is,
Yeah.
mm, why do you think now and not before?
Oh, because of like all of those all of those distractions, I feel like both intentional and just happenstance, like straight up capitalism,
Mm.
you know, it says that you have to justify every moment of your existence with some sort of labor. God damn, can I get like 2 seconds though? Can I get like 2 seconds? So yeah, like this, distraction of capitalism, the distraction of just general busyness.
Mm.
Like some people refer to it as like grind culture or hustle culture, which you know, that's the part that's rooted in capitalism. But even when we're not working for money, it seemed like there was always you must be doing something. You
Mm.
must be doing and documenting slash surveilling yourself as you are doing. Anyway, I'm just sorry not to be like such of a hippie
Okay.
weirdo about it, but I'm just grateful for like the space, you know? Yeah.
Mm. Exists too.
Which is a privilege, which is absolutely a privilege, don't get me wrong. And I know that not everybody's having that experience, but yeah, I feel like I'm leveling up low key.
Good. That's
Yeah.
good. I feel when all this started, I had this feeling that although this was, you know, seemingly scary, I feel like if people navigate through it correctly, there is an opportunity to come up top, and not like in a capitalistic way, but spiritually, like come out
Mhm.
um, clear, come out purposeful, you know, in a very spiritual way. So I agree. I feel like this pause, this reset that we're seeing on a spiritual level has been beneficial if people look at it in like a wholesome perspective.
And honestly, like same. It's one of the first times also in my life that I actually believed that this I because what you're talking about, it sounds like to me, is the you know how people say, oh, life is what you make of it, you know, every situation is what you bring to it, your attitude, blah blah blah. And I feel like this is one of the first times that I'm actually like practicing that so that I understand it in my body. Um, yeah, this situation is exactly what I make of it. And I make of it an opportunity to like do some real internal work and come out on the other side with like some, at least a measure of healing. I don't even know what that looks like, but yeah, yeah,
So that-
yeah. Grateful for it for sure.
I'm gonna
Oh, BT Dubs, I just wanted to tell you how cute you looked. Don't think I didn't notice your coordinating lip and shirt combo. Also matching your background and having done a little set design. I see you. I see you.
thank you. Thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
like I said, I just moved here, so I'm still in the process of getting everything together. My bed frame broke no wait, on Wednesday. I was like, oh my God, the world
What you was doing? What you was
I wish I broke it in the right way. I wish I broke
Oh, damn.
I was just, sitting down. That's how it happened.
It happens to
It was
the
a
best of us.
it was an old thing. Matter of fact, when I was here a couple of weeks ago, my friend was like, you gonna need to get you another bed frame. I was like, nah, it's gonna be
Oh,
cool.
dang.
And also I was like, come on, come on. I was like, oh shit. It's okay. Got one coming, got one coming.
Oh, you do good, 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 good job, good job. Way to handle that. Way to get it done.
How do
Yeah.
you feel about going to the next question? Cool. Um, in media, in stories, in any a book, anything, where do you see yourself most?
Um. Yeah, I was trying to give that some thought, and I have to say, you know, that Black experience, where it's difficult to find yourself in media. So it's hard to think about who that might be. My first and most surface answer is Daria. Do you remember that
I do.
cartoon Daria from the night? Yeah. we were very Daria identified for quite a long time there. But also I identify with like glamour and Black women, and so particularly like Diane Carroll from
Mm,
like those Dallas days, but also like her whole existence.
yeah.
Um, I see myself in a lot of older people because I am like, I'm a beautiful grandmother. Um, but yeah, like Shirley Bassey,
Mm,
um, just this idea of like what it is to see Black women experiencing like luxury and softness. Well, I guess we don't ever really get to be soft in media portrayals, but at least shiny.
mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you feel like that has like because I mean, I can't think of anyone who is even equivalent to like a Diane Carroll like in these times. I mean, we have like Kerry Washington, right? But she's not glamour.
I feel like young people think about Beyonce in that way.
Hmm.
I think that, yeah. At least I hope they do.
I mean, Beyonce is glamour, but she still gives me rock. I mean, she's still kind of like a rock star. Diane Carroll is like, I have
I
my
know.
faux fur or my fur, and I'm having tea with my girls at like 3. And I wish I feel like I
It's
feel like we don't
sad.
have that representation anymore. It's interesting that you brought that. That's what you connect to.
I wonder, it has to exist. We're just not like thinking and aware of. Oh, what about some of the folks from Pose? I don't watch that show, but I hear that it is very glamorous.
I have not. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't seen it since the first season. I saw like maybe 2 episodes in the second season, but there is like
Hmm.
there is an essence of glamour from Pose that they're trying to emulate, and it's done
Is it
success.
also like a lot of struggle bus though too?
Oh, it's all struggle bus, and it's good.
Okay.
It's Ryan Murphy struggle bus.
Yeah. Oh. Pause. No one said that to me yet. What? Do what now?
Ryan Murphy. Okay, so I love Ryan Murphy characters, but he puts queer people, whether they're white, black, or Asian, or any representation, and I feel like he puts them through stereotypical gauntlets that the audience would assume that queer characters are going to go through.
Yeah, it's just reinforcing the narrative that already exists, but then being called revolutionary and radical, that's that wild shit though.
Well, he's the first of his kind, so he has to take on those titles.
Mm-mm.
But I'm also
Mm.
like, I feel my thing with Pose, and I think it's an excellent show, well casted, well, done well as far as acting goes. But my concern, and this is just my thoughts, is I don't want white America to think that every black and queer person is just like a ballroom girl, and it's like, no, we're this is spectrum. We do it all. We are all, and
Yeah.
that should be respected
Yeah.
and explored.
But I mean, this is why like your shit is gonna be so amazing. It's like documentation of like so many different complicated realities. And there's a lot of, queer folks doing similar work. I just wish queer folks would like support like queer work, but that's okay too. We're all doing the best we can, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
what we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
the first person that you felt connected to as far as I guess you could say a superstar goes, or someone on stage?
Mm. Mm. I mean, I again, I just feel like it's like that. Diane Carroll sort of moment. I feel like I saw whispers of that moment in Felicia Rashad's Claire Huxtable,
Ooh, okay.
but there wasn't enough glamour. There was at least softness and some style, but there just wasn't glamour. But I understand it was a family show. Um, yeah, yeah. In this moment, uh, I'm most excited about the lady Ms.Vagina Jenkins as an aspirational character.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And also, I will say that I named myself after Vaginal Kareem Davis, who is, oh, yeah, you're from LA, performance artist, originally from the Los Angeles area,
Mm.
um, now living in Berlin. And it's weird. What I liked about them, or what I named myself after them for, was this idea that you could be and do anything. Like they were the first Black queer performance artists that I really, really saw like out there doing things, like really like making their work, you know? And I don't come from an art background, so that it was an art that was accessible to me as a person that was just like working at clubs or whatever. Um, I was just so struck by that oh shit, like I can. Um, and so yeah, there's nothing else about our work that is reminiscent of each other at all. But for me, it was just the idea that you could. Yeah.
Mhm. How long ago was that?
Oof. I am an old. Oh, well, not really. I actually saw one of your interviews, or a few of your interviews. Folks were older than me, and I was like, yes, thank you. Chef's kiss. But yeah, I am 43. I named myself, I believe, in '02. Yeah. Oh, wow. If I named myself, my timeline's weird. If I named myself though in '02, it's now to 2020.
Uh-huh.
I'm an adult.
You're 18.
I'm 18.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's beautiful. What was it like when you first started out, like when you made the decision, like, I am the lady, Miss Vagina Jenkins? Like, what was that evolution?
Um, Definitely there was a point in time where I let folks call me whatever,
Mm.
because people, and not just straight and cis people, like queer and trans people, LGBTQ communities, are not comfortable with the word vagina, and it is the weirdest shit. And it's weird because you're allowed to say like all of the slang words, but you can't just use like this technical. It's so weird. I don't understand. I still don't understand. And for me, it wasn't like that white feminist pussy hat type of a moment to like name myself vagina. It really was after Vaginal Davis, and um, so I was surprised. I was surprised. I really was surprised. Like, oh shit, the white feminists are right. Like, there really is a problem with this word and this part of the anatomy. I'm like, damn, for real. And it just became, I don't know, an insistence that you are gonna call me by my name.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then yeah, the idea of I have this idea in my brain about who my ancestral self is.
Mhm.
And when I named myself, part of me naming myself the Lady Miss Vagina Jenkins is like that I wanted to be on this journey, that like this is the goal, the path that I want to walk on so that I end up at that person, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That makes
Sorry. I mean, we all love our names. And also when you choose it yourself, maybe it has lots of stories around it too. So yeah.
that makes total sense. Like Mimi Tempest is my stage name and writing name. I was born Mia Lizzie Tempestt Boykin, but something about putting my nickname and one of my middle names together kind of like, it just like, I was like born, if that makes sense. I was,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, who, you know, Mia, a lot of people still call me Mia all the time and I respond to it. It's not a big problem, but Mimi Tempest feels like a more accurate um, way of envisioning myself in the world. So I
Yeah.
totally understand.
Yeah. And it's funny, it's when you have different names, it's also, like I said, it's an indicator of these relationships. So,
Mm.
like, anyone that would call you Mia, that comes with its own set of expectations and behaviors and histories, and you know what I mean. And so, like when you're calling me by my chosen name, talking to me nice, like you're speaking to and like a buzzing and connecting to my future and my dreams, and you know, it's a different thing. Naming is very important. Language is important, but yeah,
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 it's an energetic exchange. Yeah.
it is. It is. Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to the next question.
Yay.
When do you feel most safe?
Hmm. Hmm. I feel most safe when I am alone and at home. Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know, she is an autistic queen, and there's definitely that struggling to find my social fit in a neurotypical world that is just exhausting. And I feel like it often makes me behave in ways that are not my highest self.
Mm.
And so when I am alone and the mask drops, when I'm in my space and like comfortable, like that is the closest thing to somehow I think safety and freedom are very attached for me. Yeah.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of your response. You're very vocal about, and please correct me if I say this incorrectly, um, about being neurodivergent. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
okay? Can you can you what can you tell me about why you're so vocal about expressing that aspect of yourself and
For sure.
how just to piggyback off of the question, and how people like myself or others listening can just understand what it means to be neurodivergent.
For sure. Well, for me, it's another point of queerness.
Mhm.
And for me, I guess maybe I should like rewind and talk about queerness for me and my experience is otherness, is about seeing what exists, what the dominant paradigms are, and like deliberately disrupting blah, blah, blah. And so when I'm talking about and being proud of being neurodivergent, I'm talking about being proud of queerness that it, or like physiological, like mental health queerness, um, which really shouldn't be that revolutionary, but God,
Swear.
I feel like the neurotypicals recognize like two mental health conditions: they know depression and they know anxiety, and that's it. That's all they're recognizing. Anyway, it gets a little frustrating, and I also want to align myself and build on the back of like disability justice movements. And so when I'm like claiming neurodivergent, um, it's a way for me to align myself with that work as well in those communities, if that makes sense. Yeah.
um I used to date someone that had Asperger's, and he was literally the most charming and interesting person I've ever been with, and just my interaction with him opened up my like my world, if that makes sense. It opened up
Hmm.
my perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
autistics are kind of dope. Get you one. Oh, but hey, so moment of education about that language.
yes.
So yeah, Asperger's is like kind of old school language, like it's like not used in the DSM anymore or whatever. And folks that are autistics or like sometimes people will use on the spectrum um, don't super love that word or that terminology because the way that it was used in the past is to talk about high functioning
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
autistic people, right? And so it just goes hand in hand with like functioning labels, like what is low functioning, what is high functioning. Basically, if you're showing too many autistic tendencies, does that mean you are low functioning, and by whose standards? Neurotypical people. So the preferred nomenclature I feel like in this moment is autistic or on the autistic spectrum. Just letting you know. A
Thank,
lot of people don't know that because I feel like a lot of people are, you know, the DSM, it changes all the time. But yeah,
thank you, because I would have never known. I would have thought that was the proper the proper language to use in that moment. I appreciate it.
it's always changing.
Mm. Let's pivot. When's the first time you realized you were Black?
Ooh, ooh. Like, you know, no, no. The thing that this question brought up for me is, A, was there a time that I ever got to think that I wasn't Black?
Mm, mm-hmm.
Facts. And what has I feel like the earliest experience of my Black experience is having to endure whiteness.
Mm,
Um, when I was in preschool, I went to preschool right outside my mom's. We lived in Maryland, and it was a wealthy community right outside my mom's army base. Like she worked on the army base.
mm,
So I went to preschool near there, and it was a wealthy white community. So I was the only Black kid, and I'm pretty sure the only kid of color. And very often, I cannot stand people touching on me. I don't, anyway. So, anyway, very often they would sit me in the center of a whole bunch of kids and
mm.
count all of my braids and barrettes and baubles
Gosh.
as like the counting lesson for the day. And so I feel like my earliest Black experiences were this is what you have to endure to be in the world type thing.
Oh my God.
And I don't know. I don't love that that is like the start of my Blackness, recognizing who I am in the world and what Blackness means. But yeah. Um yeah.
Wow. 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 I've
Mhm.
I've heard a lot of it, so my experience and my response to that is usually people who were from just my collection of stories, usually people who are raised in Black communities, their experience of Blackness is very beautiful. They're like, I was sitting with my mom at a table and she told me, boom. And then usually people who were raised in white communities have like that moment in a class. It's usually in a classroom that 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 triggers that. That
Right.
is, I'm sorry you went through that.
I mean, no doubt, same, the same. But I guess it can also be the story of things that I have survived.
When did you start realizing that Blackness was a beautiful experience? Do you have something that counters that?
Yeah. I was also considering that, and I feel like church experiences. I remember like my experience of going to church with my grandma on Sundays and shit on Sundays and Wednesdays and goddamn Thursdays for choir rehearsal. But yeah, my experience of church, her church was to me, I thought it was mega church. But
Oh,
looking back on it now, it's actually not that big, but it's like a giant geodesic dome shape. And they have like they put all those, what is that called, stained glass in there.
big glasses. Mm-hmm.
And so because it was a full like 360 view, you could always see the light changing through the stained glass. And like, of course, like my experience of going to church on Sundays is like putting on your best clothes and like feeling like super pretty and getting your hair done and like looking up. Everybody just feels so tall and big and everybody's dressed in their best things and the light is dappling through the windows, and then ladies be dancing. I love to watch somebody catch the Holy Ghost like, God damn, is this really happening? Yeah, it just, everything felt like big and refined, and yeah. So some of those experiences feel like the first experiences of like a Black joy and pleasure aesthetic. Yeah.
That's cool. That feels as much negativity as that other story had. That story seems to like outshine the way you
And
were.
it's fuller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuller with sensory details. And yeah, I think the other story is like something I've told many times and exists in a box of pain that I can reference. But when I think about the joy story, it's something that lives in my heart and it opens like a book. This is my heart book. Mimi, it's my heart book.
You're opening it up to me. Thank you. I could see the green that's emanating. I'm gonna go to the next question. When's the first time you realized you were queer?
Also, lots of sensory details.
Okay.
There was, I think I was like first grade or so. And there was a girl named Charlene, and she was sitting on the bus, and she was across the aisle from me. And the way that the light came down across her legs, you could see that like her leg hair was lighter than her skin, if that makes any sense. Like her skin was like that nice brown, chestnut brown color, and then her leg hair was like a kind of russet red, and you could see the light on it. And I was like, Charlene, can I touch your leg hair? And she let me do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never going back. No, that's not true. But it's definitely like the first time I was like, ooh, I know that this is not right. But I asked her and she said it was okay. So I think it's okay, but I'm pretty sure it's not okay. Yes, super soft in the color. And I remember stroking it backwards, like against on the shin up to the knee. Yeah.
So pure and so innocent, though.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you break it. Hold up.
Oh.
Oh, let me see if
Maybe those are like, oh, hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think I can hear you in real time. Is that true?
Yes. Okay, okay, I'm still going. That is so pure and so innocent. I love that.
It was such a moment.
Mm.
Maybe that's what, and I'm still trying to figure it out for myself, what asexual desire looks like. But maybe that is part of my asexual desire story. I was learning that like sensory things are something that I'm attracted to, you know, maybe that's a part of it. I'm just thinking about it now in this moment. I haven't figured it out, but yeah.
When did you realize that you were asexual?
Oh, definitely late in life. Um, there are many folks that have this, or excuse me, ace is my short way of saying asexual. There are many ace people that have the same story, that like they came out when they were older because they had no models for it and no idea that that was like a thing that you could do. But I feel like one of the first times when I thought it might be okay to say no thank you to sex is when a cis hetero boy did it to me. I feel like I was like 27, 28, and I just thought that like sex was the price that you had to pay to be in community with people. And so it was just like, hello, introduction, genitals. And I, did that with him, and he was like, oh, no, thank you. And I was like, wait, pause. We're allowed to say, I had no idea. And then, yeah, I feel like part of my ACE coming out or timeline or whatever coming out story journey is also seeing for the first time a documentary called Asexual. I think I just came across it on YouTube or something like that. And I think that would have been like maybe 12, 13-ish, 2012 to 13. And again, it was one of the first times that I was like, okay, there are a group of people, a community, there's language. It's not an all or nothing black and white binary.
I see.
Wow. Just like learning that there is language for your experience. That's why I always get so sad when people are like, why is everything about labels and identities now? And I'm like, maybe that's your experience. They are frustrating and limiting for you. But for me, language and finding language for my experience has always been liberating, because to me, it connects me to people that share my experiences in like a body of like literature, culture, arts, media that I can like pull from to feel less isolated.
I think
But yeah.
I think when people talk about labels, they see it as a set of parameters to perform in, so but so there's like that parameter, and it's like you either perform in this or you don't, right? But that's like not what labels and then language is intended to do. It's supposed to give voice to an experience or a feeling, and from that you can build off of it. But I feel like we've been taught so much, like the enmeshment of binary exists within us so much that we see a label and we either want to reject it or accept it. It's just like,
Yeah.
just be a thing that exists, and
Yeah.
do with it what you want.
Exactly. Like, what about this experience resonates with me? Where do I find home? If I don't, then I leave it. If I do, then I might hold on to it for a while. And my labels might shift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the process of reclaiming some new pronouns for myself and my experience. And I'm trying to shift from she, her, hers my whole life to we, they, because I feel like I am a multitude of experiences and I am also my ancestors. And I'm just in the midst of like that uncomfortability around it. Like, why should it feel like a rubbing point, a sense, a wound? I don't know, not a wound, but a sensitive area. Why should it feel that way? I can shift. I can change. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like labels as a reference, not as a yeah, as a reference. That just like I'm taking processing all this information.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mm, okay. Um, I'm wondering if I should piggyback off of your answer or move on to the next one. How are you feeling right now?
I feel, do you want to piggyback? We'll see where we go.
Okay. So
Okay.
just to piggyback off of um, about what you were talking about as asexuality, what has been the community since you realized, like, how have you been embraced or participated in this community since you realized that
Oh,
you
yeah.
can accept?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
There's no.
Absolutely the fuck not. No, well, here's the thing. Um, Blackness is a primary value for me.
Okay.
Queerness is a secondary, important value. Um, the asexual community that I have found, the median age is like 22 and white, and I would say like affluent experience.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I guess I'm naming all of that not to shit on people, but to say that I am not finding myself there.
Mm.
And so I have some language for what my experience is, but my experience is much different from like, it seems like the average experience that I'm coming across. And so in that way, I feel a bit isolated, but honestly, most of my friends are non-binary in different ways and they can see me. And so I feel okay with like my chosen community of tight-knit community of a couple safe few folks. I don't necessarily need like an asexual convention to make me feel, I don't know, to affirm my asexuality, I'll say. Yeah.
Thank you for that, because I would have assumed that like, oh, uh, they're asexual. They must have a they must have like this embracing from others that you feel connected to. But that makes sense now, because my connection or like my reading of people who are asexual have always been white. Have
Yeah.
always been, mm,
Yeah. And not, I wouldn't say over, do you expect this person to be over the age of 30 as well? And do you expect them to be like from Oakland or Berkeley? Like shit like that.
I feel you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Let's move to the next question. What would you say to your 12-year-old self?
Oh, I would tell them that my suspicions are true. We are going to get out of here and we are going to get to do so much dope shit. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I think my 12-year-old self would be very surprised and think I was super cool.
Mm, wow, that makes me happy.
Don't you think your 12-year-old self, if they could see you touring the world and on stage, they'd be like, wow, you're super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, most definitely.
Yep.
Mm, mm,
Yep. And I'm aiming towards like my future ancestral self.
mm,
And wow, when I get there, it's
mm.
over for you bitches. No, I'm just like
It's over for you bitches. Yeah, I think I would tell my 12-year-old self, you wrote the book and you're still writing the book, and you actually became the woman that you always envisioned yourself to be. I would tell my 12-year-old self that.
Yeah.
And to stop crying. Like, stop crying. Yeah.
Oh, baby me.
She was I was an angry child. I was a very angry person. Um,
Mm. Childhood is hard. I mean, I don't know. Kids go through so much, and adults just expect them to act like saints. And so I kind of get it. I was a good child, good, which
oh,
meant obedient, you know.
mhm.
But around me, I really could see like exactly why people would lose their shit, and adults would just come through and act like they were otherworldly or like demonic or something for like having feelings. Like, do you not see? Yeah.
I see the world in which we exist in right now. How can you not respond accordingly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's head
Yeah.
to your ancestral self.
Mm.
What would you like to hear from your ancestral self?
Um, I'm not gonna lie. I want to know how we get into this money. How did we secure the bag exactly, madame? Um,
Yeah.
but also less materialistically. I have been working on a language to communicate with my future ancestral self,
Mhm.
and it's really number based because I love numbers. And when I see and feel those numbers, what I feel like I'm being told is yes, the thing that you are doing in this moment is a path to freedom. All of these little seeds that I'm planting when those numbers come up, I feel like those are the seeds to freedom, safety, stability, pleasure, you know?
Mhm.
And so I feel like I'm having that conversation now, and it's good. It's like, good job. You're on the right track. Yeah.
Mhm. And thank you for having that conversation with me as you're having that conversation with yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you experience love?
Ooh. It's that love language thing.
Okay. There's touch, uh there's affirmations, there's spending time, there's gifts, gift giving, uh I can't remember the other ones.
Oh, acts of service, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Yeah,
Um
I feel like I'm a gifts, acts of service receiver,
mhm.
and gifts, gifts and acts of service giver as well. My
Okay.
least favorite is affirmations.
Oh, why?
Just words don't mean as much to me as action.
Mm, I see. Mm,
Just in my body. Yeah.
I see. I see. I'm a quality time person. If you spend, to me, time is one of the, I hate the word assets, but time is the only thing that we really have here. Like that's the only thing I have, right? I'm alive until I die. So if you take that alive time to spend it with me, um, then that means the world to me.
All right, I have follow-up question.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about your boundaries, okay?
Okay.
Um, so then when you were dating that person that was like on the spectrum, I wonder because I feel like autistic folk love some alone time. If you ever felt like it wasn't a match because of that difference, maybe in love language, but if that even happens.
Are you talking about with him in particular?
Yeah, yeah.
So with him, it was actually um, I knew. So I'm gonna go into this. He and I are both the same zodiac sign, so that was like I don't know if that just kind of made sense. Like we our way of connecting and seeing and speaking with each other was just like boom. Um, I knew touch was I knew touch was hard for him, but because he liked me so much, like he was so inviting for me to touch him, and
Yeah.
that's when I knew he liked me because he was like my ability to just like touch him in the way that I could tell initially felt uncomfortable for him. Like he kind of let down his guard really, really easy. Um, he was one of those affirmation people. He liked to tell me how pretty I was, and that made me feel good. I didn't need it, but I could tell that he liked giving it. Like that was his way of expressing um, how much he liked me, and how I knew we spent like maybe an entire weekend with each other. Like we would spend entire weekends like with each other. Like I wouldn't talk to him throughout the week, but I knew like Thursday, Friday, I get like that message, and that's how I knew that's how I knew um,
Yeah.
that there was something there, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that spending of the time, him checking in with me at a certain time, like same time every week. I know I'm gonna get a text message.
Yes, consistency.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that made me feel safe with him. Only thing though is I can tell, like the way it didn't work was he was 10 years older than me, and we just knew that this was either going to be something or it wasn't.
Mm.
Like it was like there was no, like, how do I explain? It's like it was a telepathic kind of communication, something that I haven't really had with a lot of people. But I knew if it didn't turn into something like bigger than what it was, it wasn't because he didn't like me. It was because we're just at different points in our lives, and that was
Oh
okay.
yeah.
That was okay with me. Whereas some dudes, they'd be like, "You're the moon and back, and I love you, and we gonna be this, and I see you here, and come meet this person." And it was just like, I know you like me. I know you like you. I mean, I know I like you. We have a way of communicating which isn't typical. And if this doesn't go past a point, it has nothing to do with us. It just has to do with just the way the universe is set up. And I
Mhm.
appreciated that so much from him.
Yeah.
I
It's
appreciate
hard to get to that point, Lord. I
I
mean, at least with my little self, I take everything personal.
but I appreciated his way of communication because it was so straightforward. I didn't have to guess what he was thinking. It was just like, I know. Even just how he like grunted, like like it was just very okay, like it was
Yeah.
that. And the
Yeah.
fact that he did spend time with me, I knew he liked me. And that was all I needed. I didn't need the words. I needed, like, it was that moment.
I have not dated another autistic person, at least to my knowledge. I'll
Mm.
say that. I would be very curious about what the experience is. And yeah, because of being a gift, but not having the other thing. I'm just like, I will come over and give you a specially customized rhinestoned notebook
Mm.
for no reason. But I can't actually sit and talk with you. Also, we can watch movies, but I need you to watch on your end. Don't touch me. These are
Oh,
my snacks.
I think that's possible. To me, that
I
sounds
do. I do too. I
possible.
do too. I just haven't experienced it yet, but I do believe it's possible if I want. If I want it. Sometimes I question. I'll say that.
Are
Oh
you?
yeah, 40-year-old autistic Black people holler at your girl. Vagina Jenkins slip into the DMs.
I'm gonna put that energy that comes to you.
Okay.
I really think it's possible. I'm like, yes, this sounds doable. Like you stay here, popcorn and going to movies, giving gifts. It sounds doable.
Yes, I
Um,
believe it.
what has your if you feel comfortable,
Yeah,
what's your experience been dating since you expressed being asexual?
non-existent.
Mm.
I'm just so, if I'm honest, uh, I get freaked out when people holler at me because all it feels like is a set of expectations being put on me, and I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to have the conversation that's like, yo, these are the ways in which I am not normative, and I don't know, it's just really triggering to me right now, but I don't think it always will be. Just right now it is. So yeah. But
I
also I have a really amazing relationship with myself. So yeah.
For that. If this makes you feel better, I call myself a loser in love. I
Oh
also,
no.
yeah, I have a hard time dating people as well. I feel like my fatness, queerness, um, and me being like bisexual, pansexual,
Hmm.
really confuses a lot of people, and they don't know how to approach me. And then I'm also like I have that essence to me as well. So I feel you. I feel you.
But I feel like when I will speak for myself, I was gonna do the we thing
Yeah.
because we love some trauma bonding. Oh, but I feel like if I wanted to like practice putting that energy out in the world and like vibing with it and welcoming it, it would happen.
You can.
So I can't even, I can't even claim that, oh no, I'm unlucky in love type, She hasn't been really open. She hasn't really tried. So I will say that. Because also, first of all, the work for oneself is a lot. The work for one's life purpose is a lot. Now we're gonna add another person to it. Like that is that is a lot. I can barely take care of my own self-care. So there's that. And then there's the part where I don't know. I'm often applying spoon theory to things. If I only have so many spoons to accomplish the things that I want to do, and a lot of the things that I want to do center around freedom, I want to prioritize that. And at least, I mean, that's just where I'm at with it. But also, that might be that might be binary thinking, this either or situation.
Yeah. I I mm, I feel you. I feel you. I got a chart reading of my birth chart reading, and I was expressing similar sentiments. And ooh, this is what she told me to kind of break me out of that way of thinking. Is um none of us are disposable. Like none of us are just no. What the hell did she? Oh, I can't remember, but it was something to effect of like you think you're doing the work on your own, and you are in a sense, but all of us are part of like a larger story, and just chucking off like this possibility for a relationship is disconnecting you from a potentiality in you that you haven't even tapped into because you're so self centered and self focused. And I was,
Mm.
oh shit, learning through other relationships. That's a thing. Oh, like,
I mean, no doubt. And I feel like that's how I've accomplished so much of my like real emotional growth is in relating to others. So thank you for that reminder. And, I don't know about you, but my Black femme experience has been a lot of heavy lifting in relationship. And so I feel like that colors the experience. I'll say that. Or colors my idea of what relationship is. I'll
I,
say that.
I reflect the same sentiments. I really do. I just,
Yeah.
I just, maybe I'm just trying to keep in the past couple of months because I haven't decided if I want kids or not, if I want to get married or if that's a thing for me, like But
Mm.
I'm trying to keep open the possibility that healing is possible. Like it's still doable and still possible. I know this is a hope for the future, but I don't. I too. I'm that angry. I'm that angry collie sect that bitch. I just want to set the world on fire with all the that.
You just need you an angry ass boo. That's all you need. No, no. Or a couple of them, or whatever, however, Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a process. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Same, same, same.
Um, this is my last, well, not second to last question. Um, if you could change your identity, would you, and why or why not? And for this question, it doesn't have to necessarily be from black to white. It could be like, hey, I really wanted to be a sequoia tree, and I would change myself into that. Like, it could be anything.
That is adorable, and I love that opening of the question. Yeah, when I initially saw it, I was like, of course, like, hell no. But I am curious about. I wish that I had somewhere on my body a little switch that I could like put understand neurotypical communication styles when I was with neurotypical people. And then the rest of my time, I could be autistic, and that would be amazing. But just in terms of survival, I would like that switch to be installed.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, if I were going to be a different identity other than having a human experience, I legit want to think about this on my, I was going to say off time, but when we are not speaking. But right now, I'm going to stick with human.
Okay.
Yeah. Though sequoia tree does sound spicy.
It sounds good, right? Just brown and tall.
But humans are currently fucking up the world, and so safety is an issue. But yeah.
I feel that. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you really want to express in this moment?
Oh, can I do like plugs? But I don't have like a particular. Okay, great. I just want to plug my social media. On Instagram, I am Vagina Jenkins, all one word. My Venmo is Vag Jenkins, VAG Jenkins. And my Cash App is Vagina Jenkins. And you can also support me on Patreon, Vagina Jenkins. And those are all of the many of the ways in which you can give me money. So yeah.
Is it okay if you send those to me so I could place them in like the description boxes that I put for your interview?
Totally. Is it okay to send it just on Instagram?
Yeah, just on Instagram.
Cool. Will do. Nice.
All righty. I don't have any more questions.
That's great. I've enjoyed our time. Thank you for slowing down. It is the perfect pace for me. And yeah.
And thank you for letting me know that that you needed that. So because I'm a spitfire kind of gal. So that centered me, and I appreciate that.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.